What do you hope comes out of the day?
Well, I hope people pause and remember to listen to each other, to be kind to each other, to understand on a deeper level that we're all human and we all come from different places. And for the children and the youth that are here, we have lots of teens are here, that they see a different way of relating to each other, that instead of focusing on how someone's different, how we're alike and how we can embrace that diversity.
And what are you going to do with it?
I'm going to give it to my mom.
And what is it?
It is a upcycled Mr. Bubbles bubble bath tin.
And you put a succulent in it?
I did, yes.
So first of all, we'd like to thank everyone for being here and helping us. Well, Napa RScP, basically, we're a local government agency. We help other communities, or help our community care for the land, water, soil, wildlife, and air of Napa County.
So the main reason why we're here today is because over the past 200 years in Napa County, we went down from 36,000 acres of oak trees to only 115 acres today. And oak trees have many ecosystem services that help improve our mental health, and they also help fight climate change by taking out carbon from the atmosphere and storing it in their branches and soil. So again, we want to thank you guys for coming out today and helping us reach our goal of re-oaking Napa County. And
Good morning, Napa Valley. So good to have everybody here this morning. I can see that we're a little thin because some people may be watching online, ready to switch over to the 49ers game. That's okay. I know some people rush home also possibly, but I'm recording. So this is all good, all good. So good to have everybody here this morning. I'm Reverend Jay Lang, the senior minister here today, and we'd like to start each of our services with music, and Bodhi Starwater is here. Doesn't roll off the tongue yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Starwater here this morning to lead us. Thank you, Bodhi.
Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart, live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart, live your way. Teach me, hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day. Let me hear you now. Open my heart, yeah. Live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. So one more time, sing it. Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart, live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice, Spirit, Spirit, guide my day. Yay. I like it when people sing.
Thank you so much, Bodhi, and welcome to everybody here who's either here or online. We so appreciate this community that's vibrant and growing and connecting in a deeper way. Whether it's your first time here, we welcome you, or your first time in a while, we always love to see everybody here joining us in this community as well as online. And if you're online, feel free to put in where you're coming from, because we have people from Washington and Southern California and Utah, Nevada, Texas, Colorado, all over the place. So if you're feel free to put in your chat box where you're from, and we'll be able to look at those later, and our production team can look at it now. So good to have everybody here this morning. We like to start our service with our vision and mission statement. So if you'll look up online, look on the screen or on the screen at home, and read with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement: we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. Such great affirmation this morning. So I want to begin with a few announcements before we begin the sacred part of our service and a time of reflection and meditation. The first thing is probably the most important thing, is that we are having an annual community meeting right after the service. I know it was rather poor timing with the 49er game starting at noon, but we had no way to anticipate that. But we will be recording it on Zoom, and you can watch it on Zoom. For those who are online, we'll send the link out for you to be able to join us on Zoom. And all the information will be shared in a email form, as well as posted online, so you can look at it. Doesn't discourage you, because I like you to be in here in person, because it gives you the chance to give some input. We have some exciting things going on in our community right now, and new phases of our courtyard that we want to do, because we are opening it up for possible rentals and use, as well as we'd like to go back outdoors for some services in the spring. It was so wonderful to do that before. So we're talking about resurfacing the courtyard, and the reason why we can do it now is we had some big donations in December and January, so it's giving us some resources to be able to do that. So the point of why you want to attend the meeting today, we'd love your input on ideas for the courtyard, as well as for this community. We are part of a vision team that I lead, and we've got some great ideas that are, we believe, coming from Spirit, and we want to see how that's put together in a human way. So if you can do that, please, or send me emails and ideas. We'll continue to meet about that. We'll also have a time after the meeting to go out in the courtyard and kind of walk around and talk about some ideas we've had. So, and we'll do that every Sunday for a while, just to make sure that we're, getting your input about that. And then also we have next Sunday we have a new member class that's right after church as well. And if you're interested in that, you can sign up at the welcome table or online. There's a link to sign up for that, or just show up. But it's a time to learn more about our center and our community and what membership means. There's no requirement that you become a member after the class, but it just kind of gives you some more information about how to get engaged here, or what we stand for and what this community is. So it's a good opportunity. If you're fairly new to our center, feel free to join us for that. So it'll be right here in the sanctuary after the service. And then we're also having a concert on February 10th with Narion and Janet. It'll be an evening concert. We're trying something a little different for a Friday night concert, and because we think it could be a very social event that you could bring friends to who maybe don't attend here. It's just a concert on love. We promise we won't indoctrinate them in anything. There won't be any sales pitch or anything. It'll be a music about love. So it's a great time to join for us and to have an evening. It's the last Friday before Valentine's. So if you want to bring a date to it, bring your spouse or something, it's a great time to celebrate love in that way. So there's pre-sale tickets for $20 and $30 at the door. There's also 2 for $35. If you want to buy 2 tickets, they're cheaper that way too. And so there's you can go online and see the link to get to the ticket page there. So thank you for being a part of that. And we do need to sell a certain number of tickets in order for the concert to happen. So I would invite you to sign up this week for those tickets. They know them. They play here once at one, and they're going to play next Sunday. So if to get a sense of what they're going to be playing on that Friday night the following, they are fabulous. So such unique musicians, and they come from a professional background to playing on stage with their horns and their keyboards. They're fun. They're fun. So that'll be great. Yeah, it'll be wonderful. It'll be a party. So come join us. So, and then also for women, there's a Sister Spirit retreat that we help sponsor because some of our members go there, and the leader, Reverend Abigail Shire, is a close friend of mine. And my understanding is that these retreats are transformational. Monica, you've been to several of them. And other people have been to Women's Spirit, which is similar, but this is a different version. And it is out of town in Washington, but the flights are so easy. Now you travel on the West Coast, pretty reasonable prices about that. And the other thing I wanted to let you know in terms of things going on here at the center, we do have a youth program now. We're so excited about our youth program. We have several kids in it every Sunday, and they're coming back and they're enjoying their time. So it's great that the parents can send their kids there and then come here, enjoy our service. I do want to let you know that we put up some signage for there because we want to keep that as a sacred area. So we put a sign outside the kitchen that only volunteers and youth and family can go into the kitchen during the service, like before and during the service. And likewise, our kids' room is only for families and children and youth volunteers. So we appreciate you honoring that. We'll bring coffee out to you. You don't have to go in the kitchen and find it. We'll have plenty of coffee. We'll bring it out. If we need more, just let us know. We'll go out and get that. And we also, speaking of kitchen and snacks, we do need a few more people to be a part of the schedule to bring snacks and sign up for a particular Sunday of the month. Like if your Sunday's the second Sunday, then every second Sunday you bring snacks and be a part of the setup in the kitchen. Michelle Wilson, I think you're probably in charge of the schedule. Is that right? So talk to Michelle. You're looking funny. I just so. Snacktitioners. I like that. Okay. And then also we have a traveling, yes, Susan. Oh, yeah, well, I think that'll be on the schedule sheet that we give out to parents, but if you do have children in the youth program, then what we ask, if you want to stay for prayer with the practitioners, that's fine, but other than that, if you could go pick your children up so we can clean up that area for other things going on in the afternoon. So that's that. And we have a traveling peace pole that if you want to be a part of that, bring it to your own house. You can sign up online for that. And please know that we're here for you in prayer. We have practitioners who stay right after the service. Today it'll be a shortened version of that, but they'll still do it. It'll be a very brief prayer, but it will still be a prayer if you want to meet with them and pray for that which you are seeking to create in your life at this time. So with that, let's begin the sacred part of our service with a little more music.
this time. Sit back, relax, maybe roll your shoulders back, close your eyes, and settle down into this moment right now as we just go into that inner peace. And as I speak my word today for this moment, that one spirit, that one light, that one mind, just opening up to that truth as I speak this truth right now, knowing that that consciousness is with us, it's weaving in and out as we just open our mind up to that eternal love that surrounds us each and every moment, knowing that this service today is in divine right action, divine right order, each and every little integral part of this service, the children in the back, all the helpers. We just know that we are divinely guided as we go out with today's business and all the other activities that fill our heart and our joy. We just know that this time, this place, this energy, this uplifting energy as we move into this new year, this Chinese New Year of the water rabbit, full of abundance, water, creation, healing. We just give thanks knowing that that time, that presence, that love is surrounding us and weaving us in right here and right now. And as we just go into that quiet time now, with that last breath off that flute, knowing that that inner wisdom is guiding us right now as we go into the silence, holding on to that breath and releasing it. One breath at a time, one breath at a moment. And here comes the moment. And I give thanks knowing it is so, and so it is. Well, good morning, everybody. The topic this month is Root and Reboot, and Jay's going to be doing a talk on positive thinking, so it kind of got me thinking like this is the time I get to share a little bit about me. And, you know, I've been teaching A Course in Miracles for like 25, 26 years now on Tuesday nights. It's probably the longest commitment I've ever had in my life. And, you know, positive thinking, it's all like today I can see only God. God is all I want to see, you know, and one of the things about positive thinking is having our perception going. Like the first day, it's like, I don't understand anything I see. Then I've given it all those thoughts, you know, and then I only see the past. And sometimes that's what holds us up with our positive thinking. Sometimes I have to put that GPS on that God-provided service to know which direction, or am I on course? You know, the course is about being on course. Am I on track? Do I have my blinders on? And that can be a hindrance too. Sometimes it's got me going so focused, that's what I need to do, or I'm missing everything that's all around me. So it depends. So there's a balance there on how that works out, whether I'm single focused on like, I got to get this done, or am I missing all the roses at the same time? So, you know, sometimes we have to look at that, you know, as we weave in and out of that consciousness, you know, and that light. So one of the things I learned is in order to, my perception and then my projection has a lot to do with how that works in my life. And, you know, and my inner peace and how that resonates within my mind, body, and soul as I go through the interactions of everyday life. So positive thinking is good. I like that movie by Robin Williams where he's playing the character of Hook, and it's Peter Pan, and they got him on that plank, and he's going to walk the plank, and they keep telling him, "Hey, Robin, think happy thoughts," or it's Peter, I think. Robin's playing the part, and he keeps trying to flap his wings, and he forgot to fly. You know, and the man had forgotten to fly, and he keeps falling into I think it's ice cream or something off the plank. It's like a lake of pudding or something. And they keep telling him to fly, and he's fluttering, and he drops, and he's fluttering, and finally he remembers his youth, and he flies again and takes off. And that's one of the things I have to remember is we need to remember to fly and have those positive thoughts and get those little wings up and go. You know, even whatever's going on around us. And this is the Chinese Year of Abundance and the water rabbit. So just open up to everything that's around us, and positive thinking is what it's all about. So I'm going to leave it at that. because I don't know what Jay's going to talk about, and he didn't know what I was going to talk about. So anyways, I love you all. It's good to be in Napa today. I hope to be here in, I think, 2 more weeks. I won't be busy because I got a lot of stuff going on at the moment. But I'll be back soon. Thank you.
God provided service. Oh, yeah. My GPS. Or my IGS, my inner guidance system. All that I see, all that I hear, all that I feel is God. All that I have and all that I do, all that I am is God. All that I want, all that I need, all that I show is love. All that I think, all that I speak, all that I know is love. All that I see, all that I hear, and all that I feel is God. All that I have, all that I do, and all that I am is God. All that I am is God. All that I am is God.
I don't want to stand up. I just want to sit in it for a moment, right? Just let it.
Soak in that field.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Oh, so good to be here today. This is the last Sunday in January. Wait, it seems like a long month, doesn't it? 31 days. It's almost there. But this is the 5th Sunday also because we started on January 1st this year. And it's been a great series on Root and Reboot, which is about the fundamentals of science of mind, of what the beliefs that we have at Centers for Spiritual Living, to go back to the basics. And for me, whenever I am struggling with something or challenged with something, I always go back to the basics. Because I can overthink and make things complicated myself. I don't know about you, but I definitely do. And so to just cut down to the very basics and go back to principle, these principles that we share with Unity, our New Thought cousins, and other even progressive Christian churches and progressive Jewish and Muslim faiths, that we share this idea that God is all there is and that we're one, and that all faiths are ways to find spirit. There's no one right one. The one that is right is the one that works for you. And the idea is to work it, though. Work spirit, work it, be it, and open up to it in the very fundamental nature of spirit and this universe. And probably what I love about this topic today is positive thinking is the basis of so much of our philosophy. We believe that as you think it, you create it, right? And maybe it's time to rethink this positive thinking, because the basic what we've heard, and this is since it's not just in our faith. I mean, since you were a kid, remember the book, The Little Train, you know? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, right? And got to the top of the mountain and, I don't know, delivered toys to children or something. You know, the story changes, but I think the one I read as a kid, save the day or something, and because of positive thinking. And this nation, really the Western world, has been built on positive thinking. Built the railroads, built the infrastructure of our cities. Our government system is based on positive thinking. But here's the thing that I know about that vision, that positive thinking, that idealism, that while this country and European countries too were being built up, there were atrocities done to certain races, certain faiths, certain people, to women, that was harmful, and at that building was at the cost of other people. So it was kind of a blind positive thinking that wasn't the whole story. And so it's natural in some ways, when this was the lay of the land, so to speak, the thinking for our religion, for Unity and what was then called religious science, now called Centers for Spiritual Living, to sprout in the late 1800s and early 1900s, because that was the peak of the railroads being built, and infrastructure, and modern farming, and cars and airplanes. As I think it was Henry Ford that said, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. I mean, that was the basic philosophy that we are all that built this part. And so our faith started around positive thinking, that we are what we think. And yet, we've experienced times when we have thought positively and things haven't worked out. I mean, and the thing about this is, this idea is that it's worked enough of the time that we think it should work all of the time, right? And when it doesn't work, we think there's something wrong with the way we're thinking, or the way we're being, or something's not right, or maybe there's something wrong with us, that we haven't done it right. And that's the dark side of New Thought. The guilt that comes out when we don't create what we think we should be creating. And if we would just, think the right things, get rid of the beliefs we have, we can do it. But sometimes and so this is why we need to rethink positive thinking. And go back to the science. Originally, we were called religious science because Ernest Holmes, our founder, believed in trying the same thing, like a science experiment, try it consistently over and over again to get the same result. That's what science experiments do. If something happens, a phenomenon, and you can't repeat it in a laboratory or in the world, it's considered an invalid theory or invalid experiment. So his idea was to create a way of prayer, a way of living that everybody could do, any person could do, to create a new reality, what they chose. But here we are more than 100 years later, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I know for myself that I have made miraculous experiences in my life, moving here and moving to this community, I feel was a result of prayer and positive thinking. Finding the house that Michelle and I live in was a series of synchronicities that I know was divinely guided. And yet, through my life, I've experienced times when I didn't receive a job I thought I was going to get, that I should have got. Relationships didn't last. Things didn't work out. I struggled with my finances. I was talking with a friend yesterday, and he is a person, he's part of our community, and he's a person who is very successful now, very, very prosperous in his life. And he talked about how his life, the core life he lives is of gratitude, and he believes more things flow out of that. And people go, well, that's because you had an easy life. You have an easy life now. It's easy to be grateful when you have an easy life, but he said it hasn't always been that way. So the same positive thinking and grateful person he is now spent a winter in New Jersey in a house without heat or electricity. A winter in New Jersey, okay? That's not, a winter in Napa would be hard enough, but New Jersey. So all things have not been easy for him. So we all go through periods when things aren't quite working out the way we thought. And I think the most important thing is the good news is there's new research that shows it's not anything wrong with us. It's the techniques of positive thinking that we're using. And sometimes we happen into them. We make it so, maybe without thinking about it, but the idea, like Ernest Holmes talked about, we want to create a structure where we have a system where we can do it every time. And it works. And when it's not working, we go back and look at more about why it's not working without blaming ourselves or blaming somebody else. Before I get too caught up in the new science that's here, I have a couple jokes for you. So the first one is, now you got to put your science hats on. I was thinking science this week. Got your science hat on? Okay. So two atoms bump into each other, and one of them says, I think I lost an electron. And the other one says, are you sure? And the other one said, I am positive. So get an electron is a negative, positive. Okay, yeah. I didn't tell you it was a good joke. I just said you had to think scientifically. So there's another story I heard about some parents who were quite concerned about their children. The two sons, and one was overly negative and the other one was overly positive. So they were trying to figure out what to do about that, and they finally figured out, well, let's give them a little life lesson that they can learn from, and we'll be able to talk about it together. So they brought in, when the sons weren't there, they got some horse manure and put it and put a wheelbarrow of this horse manure in each of their rooms. Okay? Just dumped it right in the middle of the room. So the one who's overly negative comes home and sees the horse manure in his bedroom, and he goes, who put this in here? I get it out of here. I'm tired of this. Smells. This is bad. Somebody's ruining my life today. Who did this? The overly positive one saw the manure in his room, ran out to get a shovel and started digging through it. And his parents couldn't figure out what he was doing. And they said, what are you doing? And he said, well, if with this much horse manure, there's bound to be a pony under here somewhere. Right? So when we are dealing with a pile of manure in our lives, I know all of us at one time or another has had a pile of manure in their lives. What do we do with it? I think there can be a thing about being overly positive that can even be toxic. My slides aren't moving. Is that for a reason? Could you move them forward for me? There. So why does positive thinking work only sometimes? Well, this little graphic is an overly positive person, right? Oh, life is wonderful, as they fall into the jaws of an alligator. So just putting a smiley face on is not authentic. And that we can actually have toxic positivity. I don't know if you heard this word or not. Toxic positivity. So if you're guilty for being sad or angry, really, it's like being sad or angry is a normal response to life. Dismissing others' difficult feelings because you want them to be positive. Hiding painful emotions. Reciting positive quotes about hard situations. Have you ever had anybody do that to you when you're struggling with something? Oh, just, it'll get better. Don't worry about it, right? That always helps me. And ignoring your problems. So these are all things that you put on a false front. Somebody asks you how you're doing, and you say, fine, right? Even though things aren't fine. And maybe that's an okay thing to say when you don't really have time, or you're in the middle of Trader Joe's or somewhere and you don't want to go through the whole story. But we also need to be authentic in this life at some point to unwrap it and figure out where we are. I had a friend, her name is Laura, and I know her. She's not part of this community. So, but I knew her through Leadership Napa Valley when I went through that. And she's a good friend because we had a lot of whole year spending time together doing different things, and we worked on the same projects together. And I ran into her the other day, and she was sharing me this really amazing story about how I knew she was an elite runner. She trains a lot, and has done the Napa Valley Marathon, and just works really hard. And so she had this dream to run in the Boston Marathon. Now, the Boston Marathon is not a normal marathon. First of all, it has the story of the bombing that happened during it one year. Plus, if you want to be a competitive runner, you've got to qualify for that race. You have to. So she worked really hard, trained really hard, and she did her inner work to see if there was anything that stood in her way. She thought positively. She encouraged herself. She had a running coach, and things paid off. In 2020, she qualified for the Boston Marathon, and she was ready to go, and then it got canceled because of COVID. So she kept training. So her 21, and she qualified again in 2021. She's excited. She got registered. She was ready to go, and then 3 weeks before the race, she hurt her knee. And her doctor said, you can't run on this knee. If you try, you're going to hurt it even worse. You've got to have surgery. There's not time to do it before the marathon. We can do this later, but you can't do it before. We don't have time to do it. She was so disappointed. And all these family and friends and people she trained with, she didn't want to disappoint them. But the truth is, and she had done fundraising for mental health ahead of time. I know I donated to that. So she had this cause she was supposed to run for. So it just came crashing down. But she had to be realistic and couldn't compete in the Boston Marathon. So, I mean, here she is. She'd put years into this, and she was disappointed. So was there something wrong with what she did? Was there something wrong with her? Or is it just one of those things that happened? Just the manure that she had to deal with because of this disappointment she had. Now, what I know about positive thinking, and what I've talked about it before, is that we create in a world that is full of other people creating their life also. More and more people are being mindful of what they're creating. So really we have a tapestry of people creating things, and we're just one thread that goes through. Now, the more conscious we are, the more intentional we are, the more we connect with spirit and oneness and seek support for this, then the bigger our thread comes. But it's still like, the other day I took Michelle to the airport, and she forgot not to schedule a flight leaving Oakland at 8 o'clock in the morning, which, of course, there's tons of traffic. And so here I am trying to get to the airport. Luckily, we left, but there's nothing I could do, think positively, to get through all this merging traffic that's happening. And to me, that's like creation. Sometimes we have to think through clearly to get through that, and we made it because we planned enough time. I also know this month we're talking about the roots that we, the root and reboot to remove any false beliefs we have like roots so that we can plant new things. I think of this Napa Valley, how our grapes were saved because our rootstock was defective. It was disease prone, and we got new stock and planted that. And all of the, as far as I know, all the grapevines we have here in the valley grow on the same rootstock, even though you can graft different grapes on it, but this rootstock that's disease resistant. So the same sort of thing, we need to look at our beliefs. But I suggest it's more than that. And this is where it comes to this book I've been reading by Gabrielle Oettingen. She's German-American, and she's wrote this book about rethinking positive thinking inside the science of motivation. Here's a picture of her. The new science of motivation. And she's done some amazing research that really has set me on fire about this new ideas. And so her research suggests, it's proven that there were college graduates who did positive thinking and imagined going out into the work world and getting these jobs of their dreams, but in reality they got less jobs, they filled out less applications, and they made less money than the control group that didn't do this exercise in positive thinking. There's also people who were college students who spent time, they identified a crush who they weren't dating at the time, but somebody they had a crush on, and they spent time fantasizing what their life would be like if they were dating this crush and who they'd see when they were out and things like this. And the results compared to a control group that didn't fantasize about their crush, they were less likely to spend time with that person or go out with that person. People who were elderly, men and women, would spend 6 minutes imagining that they were exercising and moving, and the results of that, and they ended up moving less than their counterparts who didn't spend time doing that. And people who imagine losing weight in their mind and how people would respond to them after they lost this weight, they lost less weight even after 6 months, a year, and 2 years. So what the heck's going on? And this is what her research had. She was surprised by it. And I've always thought that when you experience something in your mind and in your body, that physiologically it will set you up for when you experience it in real life, there'll be less resistance to it, because you can be aware of your beliefs. I'd always assumed that. But her research suggests something completely different. And what her theory is, that when we think about it in our mind, when we're fantasizing, yes, our biology changes in our body. There's the same endorphins as if we lost weight, as if we had been dating our crush, as if we were moving more and had this dream job. But guess what happens after the endorphins? We relax. And we don't do the work after that because we think it's already been done. That's crazy stuff, huh? So how can we use positive thinking in a way? Because she says that positive thinking can sap energy needed to reach a positive future, predict low physical and mental health, and predict diminished well-being. Well, her theory is that take it a step further. And she calls it, we don't need to pop or not do any positive thinking at all. Instead, let's rethink it. So she is suggesting that if we go 2 steps further than just imagining what we want to do, fantasizing about our experience if we accomplish this, to go further and think about any inner obstacles that might get in our way, and to create a plan, not just a plan to do it, but a plan to overcome the inner obstacles. And then we're still set, we're realizing there's still work to do, so our brain doesn't relax. We know there's work to do, and we have a plan when we hit these inner obstacles. She calls the plan WOOP, WOOP. So, by the way, you can take notes if you want to, but there's also some sheets out in the lobby if you want to take one of those with you. And you can also find it online, Whoop My Life, W-O-O-P, Whoop My Life. That's her website that has all this information on it. But the idea is you wish, so your intention, what your purpose is, and then you think and what she's saying, you just spend 5 minutes is all in. It doesn't have to be perfectly quiet, but a time where you won't get distracted from things, an intentional time you sit down. So just a few minutes, and then the O is outcome, the second O is obstacle, the fourth is plan. So if you think about this, so what is your wish? What is you want to create? And just in 3 or 4 words, you do that. And then your outcome. 3 or 6 words about what you hope to get out of this, what you think will come out of this. And here's the next thing. Most positive thinking ends right there. Go the next step. Do the second O in the plan. So the obstacles, and we're not talking about, well, so-and-so might get in my way. I can't stand him. He's going to do this and do that. No, these are inner obstacles. What's in you that might keep you from accomplishing this goal. And then the plan to overcome that inner obstacle you might have. So let me give you an example. So we were, like the courtyard, we're talking about doing some, and we did some things that were, we've done some progress on the courtyard, but we wanted to do more. And so I was thinking about this as applying to this. So our wish is that we have a beautiful surface in our courtyard and that it's inviting and people come in. So that's the outcome too, that it would be an inviting and sacred space. But the obstacles that I was imagining, one is we wouldn't have the money to do it. But also, I know that I tend to do things by myself. Like if something's to be done, if it's, I tend to be a solo person when really that could be resistance because my individual self won't be as creative and powerful and beautiful as if everybody does it. So I have to overcome my inner obstacle to want to do it myself and include a greater team to do it, a greater vision, and include people in participation, and together we can move forward. So my plan is that if I hit that thing, I'll just get it done myself, is to stop myself and have people that support me or call people or engage people in that way. I also think of maybe I've been for better health. I know that I gained some weight in December. It's not uncommon to do that, right? And I know if I leave it up to my willpower, so that would be my outcome is I'd like to lose 20 pounds. And I know that positive thinking alone is not enough. So my inner obstacles are I love to snack. So my plan is just get rid of all the snack food in my house. And Michelle is on board with that. She wanted to do that too. So, or if I start feeling anxious or stressed, instead of turning to food, I'm going to turn to breathing or drinking some water. So have a plan when I hit that because I know that's when I tend to snack and eat. So that's the idea, to go through that and find what that is. And this process also helps you determine whether something is actually feasible. I called the 49ers and they didn't need a new tight end. They said, no, we got plenty of tight ends. So that's not feasible. I tried to do it, but what's feasible. I mean, the Warriors aren't looking for any more players either who are 64 years old. But Brad, maybe they'll want you. I don't know. They don't want me. So, what's feasible, and then with your plan, knowing your inner obstacles and your plan, then you still got the motivation. That's why Ottingen calls her book The New Science of Motivation. So you're motivating yourself. But the final thing that I want to say today is that we have another tool that scientists don't think about. They don't take into, and that's the God factor. Is allowing Spirit to come through us to be that intuition, that synchronicity that happens, the energy when we feel we can't go on to do something. It is that energy, that rejuvenation, that renewal that allows us to continue on the path of creating. And I think this opens us up to a new way of doing things and always a newness in us. So I want to tell you the rest of the story of Laura. There is more to the story. She decided, she sat down and prayed. She's a person of faith and opened up to Spirit, and she found a peace within inside of her. And she also felt to go to Boston. She'd already registered to go to Boston and just act as if, right? So she and her husband and her brother go to Boston, and she gets her number for the race, but re-registers or reclassifies herself as not a competitive runner. So she was a competitive runner. She's a really fast and really has built up the training for that. So she just kept going through the motions and opening up and allowing Spirit to guide her, and she ended up being in the last wave of the Boston Marathon where the walkers are. And there she stood, and she looked around, and she saw people in wheelchair and crutches and thousands of walkers. So they started, and she started walking, and she started talking with people who were so happy to be there. And she took in the sights of Boston on her 26-mile walk. And she completed it, and when she crossed that finish line, everybody greeted her as if she had won the race. And she was so grateful and so joyous and felt like, she got a medal, and she was just, here she is with her registering, and her brother there had finished, and it was a joyous experience. Guess what? It may not be the way we think it's going to be, but Spirit is there to guide us to celebrate life in this way, to open us up. And my prayer, and I've heard a lot of people using this phrase lately, this or something better. So I accept this, and I am opening to something better at the same time. And we know that is Spirit through us that makes that difference. It's that simple. So we plan for those inner obstacles, and we trust Spirit. Let us go to prayer. So as we open up to Spirit in this very moment, we know that it is here with us and is always with us. And we just allow the fullness of Spirit within us to be that strength, that joy, that love when we are faced with our challenges and don't think we can do any more. We know Spirit is that within us to keep us focused, energized, and loving. We're so grateful for this, and we know this truth as we simply know this to be the truth. We let it go and let it be, and so it is.
God's wisdom shining within me. Guidance from that place inside is like a beacon on the sea. Advice from the world outside can sometimes lead me astray. Choosing to follow the light of God, I always find my way. In the light of God, in the light of God, in the light of God. Oh. The joy of God's presence glowing in my soul, the peace of this warmth inside is worth its weight in gold. Fear from the world outside can sometimes confuse my mind. Choosing to feel the joy of God, I'm back on course in time. In the light of God, in the light of God, in the light of God. Oh, oh, oh. In the light of God, in the light of God, in the light of God. Oh. In the light of God, in the light of God, in the light of God. Whoa, whoa. In the light of God, in the light of God, in the light of God. Whoa. The light of God's wisdom shining within me. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. If I could have our ushers come forward, this is the time of our sharing of our abundance and participating in the law of circulation. We have many opportunities in the way to give, and some of you I know give online. And we appreciate that. If you give today, we appreciate that too in whatever way that is, many different ways we can. What we know is that which you give supports our vision and mission, our expansion of these spiritual principles out into the greater community, even beyond Napa Valley. So if we could take that which we are giving today, whether it's one of compassion and love or financial, or that which you've already given to represent it, to cover your heart with your hand and repeat after me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world, and I I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright.
Lovely. You even had the echo part going on. That's great. Good work over there. We will start the community meeting right after, like just about a 10-minute break at the most. Get coffee, snacks, bring it back in. And also, if you're online or you're headed home after this, I just texted out the link, and I emailed the link out also for the Zoom. We're not doing YouTube. It'll go to Zoom. So a different media, and we appreciate that and appreciate all that you are. So we like to honor people who are here for the first time. If you're here for the first time, you're willing to raise your hand. We have a gift for you, and we want to give an affirmation for you. Anybody here for the first time? No. Well, great. Well, thank you for everybody for returning. And if you're first time online, we appreciate having you as part of our community too. So such a blessing. So let's offer this affirmation. Whoops, there it is. Raise your hand and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. If we could have our practitioners come forward and stand, and like I said, today's going to be brief prayers, so we call them standing prayers. They don't even sit down. They just stand and give you prayers. And so if you want to do that, stay in the sanctuary. Everybody else, clear out so we can grab some coffee and then come right back in. We'll be ready for you then. So let's all stand up for the congregational affirmation. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I'm led by Spirit.
I'm led by Spirit.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I'm protected by love.
I'm protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I am here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful. And so it is.
And so it is.
And now our closing song.
Love is my decision. It's up to me Love is my decision, and no one else can tell me to stop. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. I decide
So as we go forth, let's whoop our life and go 49ers.
Whoop, 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 whoop.